of posies. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down. Ring around the rosies, pocket full of posies. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down.
The Black Death was unleashed upon Europe in the 14th century AD. Though various plagues have tormented humanity through all recorded history, the medieval world was in no way prepared for the decay and death brought forth by the Black Plague. Never before and in no time since has the world ever witnessed a disease epidemic of such an enormous scale, and perhaps one has never been so poorly misunderstood. In the mid-1300s, Europe was in the thick of the Dark Ages. The Church held an almost infinite amount of power and influence over every aspect of daily life. Naturally, as disease began to break out, they reasoned that it was punishment sent from the heavens, and those who were sick had brought it onto themselves. In short time, millions were dead and even more infected. The plague became referred to as pestilence, the name of the fourth horseman of the apocalypse. Life would have felt very much apocalyptic, as by the time it was all said and done, more than half of Europe had perished in only 4 short years. But what exactly was the Black Death? Medieval people themselves referred to the catastrophe of the 14th century as the Great Pestilence or Great Plague, and Swedish and Danish chronicles didn't attach the term black until the 16th century. The disease is now commonly referred to as the Bubonic Plague and was verified through recent DNA analysis to have been caused by the Yersinia pestis bacterium. The bacterium infects fleas found on a number of ground rodents, including the Oriental black rat. The rat becomes an infected host carrier, in turn infecting more fleas. They both inevitably make contact with human beings, leading to 3 main types of interrelated infection: the bubonic, pneumonic, and septicemic variants, each of which killed people in its own vicious way. The bubonic variant was the most common and derived its name from the swelling buboes, or enlarged lymphatic glands. The least common form was the septicemic, which attacked the blood system. Both the bubonic and septicemic forms were transmitted to humans through direct contact with an infected flea. However, the third form, the pneumonic variant, attacked the respiratory system. It was transmitted between human beings by simply breathing the exhaled air of an infected person. Historians are relatively certain that the Black Plague had repeatedly broke out in the ancient world every couple hundred of years, never traveling further west than modern-day Greece. This particular epidemic began somewhere in China or Central Asia, likely killing up to 30 million people in the 15 years prior to its reaching Europe. It is known that nomadic Mongol tribes carried the disease from Asia down the Silk Road trading routes right to Europe's doorstep. It has even been documented that Mongolian warriors were besieging the city of Crimea in modern-day Ukraine when they experienced an outbreak within their ranks. They took the infected bodies of their own deceased soldiers and catapulted them into the city in hopes of infecting their enemy. It apparently worked as planned, as those who fled to nearby Sicily carried the plague with them. Records indicate the plague quickly spread from Sicily to Venice, arriving there as early as 1346. This was literally the worst place in Europe for it to have landed, as European merchant trade was almost exclusively one of a seafaring nature, and Venice the center of such trade. All of Europe was essentially doomed right from the very beginning. The plague moved as fast as the shipping fleets did, breaking out in almost every Italian city by winter of 1347. An outbreak in the northern city of Pisa served as the land gateway to the rest of Europe. By January of 1348, the royal French city of Marseille was breached. followed by Paris in the spring. Paris was the largest European city of the time, with close to 100,000 inhabitants. From there, it exploded out in virtually every imaginable direction. England, Spain, and Germany were all ravaged before the end of 1348, which turned out to be the deadliest year of the Black Death. Scandinavia wasn't hit until midway through the following year, Eastern Europe until 1350, and Russia until 1351. The Kingdom of Poland was one of the very few areas left untouched by the destructive hand of the Great Pestilence. The Black Death was greatly misunderstood, and before any political or medical personnel had any time to reflect on prevention or treatment, a third of the victims had already died. So-called plague doctors wore peculiar and now infamous costumes comprised of a hat, jacket, and a mask that had a long beak nose. Vinegar was put in the tip, as it was incorrectly believed to have purified the air, although the suit itself likely did protect from the pneumonic variant of the plague. Unknown at the time, once a person contracted the disease, it was up to their own resilience, chance, and perhaps even God's will whether or not it would be fatal. This led to all sorts of home-brewed treatments, including bleeding oneself out by laceration of the skin with knives, excessive vinegar baths and fumigations, and even the common practice of bursting the buboes open with a chicken's feather and draining them out. These treatments did no good, and in most cases were actually even more dangerous, as the open wounds often led to other infections. Extremist, fanatical groups and behavior became extremely prevalent all over Europe. Radicals within the Catholic Church formed the Brotherhood of the Flagellants, a group of practitioners of an extreme form of mortification of their own flesh by whipping it with various instruments. This was an emulation of the suffering of Christ and was intended to spare them from the pestilence. It is estimated that this brotherhood could have numbered almost 800,000 members during the peak of the Black Death. Lepers, gypsies, and Jews were suspected of causing the plague. All were targets of extermination across Europe, and close to 60 major and 150 smaller Jewish communities were destroyed. The only successful prevention of the disease would have been to abstain from as much human contact as possible, and some people seem to have realized this fact. Many fled away from the crowded cities that served as epicenters of infection, and fled to the countrysides and forests. This tore villages, communities, and families apart from each other, as can be observed in the following reenactment.
I got the Black Death. I'm so sick.
What are you talking about? I don't want to go anywhere.
You have to. You're going to get it. You're going to get it, and you're going to die. You need to leave. You need to go. Go to the woods. Go to the path. Go to the nearest city.
I'm not leaving.
You can't stay with me. You're going to die. I'm not going to let my daughter die. Don't touch me. Don't. You're going to get it. You need to leave. You just need to go.
I don't want to go. I want to
I know
stay with
it's
you.
scary, but you're strong. You're a strong, beautiful woman. Just go. You will live and have a great life, and you will find someone. Go to the nearest city, and if they have it, you go to the next one. Just keep going. You can't stay here with me. You have to. Go. Now.